welcome back to the show Indestructible Souls. It is May 1st. Once again, this is Indestructible Souls, your podcast for mental wellness for African American men and boys. I want to continue to thank you for your continued support and for tuning in, listening, offering the feedback. And I just want to thank you because, this is a labor of love. There's no money involved in it. This is just me trying to give information. This is my way of giving back. One of my ways of giving back, and it's also my way of educating the masses when there's in the work that I do. I spend a lot of time in isolation in terms of in private practice. So shouldn't say isolation, but working with individuals and families, so I don't get out a lot. Um, so yet again, I want to thank you for continuing to support Indestructible Souls, to support the practice. Before we get started, my name is Jonathan Beauregard. I am your host of Indestructible Souls, as well as the proprietor of Beauregard Therapy. There's some good news when it comes to the private practice. Very soon, very soon, I will be expanding into becoming a group practice. So I will soon be looking for other licensed therapists to come on and join the group, Beauregard Family Therapy Group. And we just don't do family therapy, or won't be limited to family therapy. It'll be individual, family, children, and so forth. So you can follow me and you can find me at BeauregardTherapy.com. You can also find me at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and you can follow the audio podcast on Spotify, Anchor, and also Apple Podcasts. So today is a unique show in the sense that I didn't prepare a show. I didn't prepare or produce a show specifically because, there's a lot going on, and I'm just going to kind of say what's on my mind today. First off, happy Mother's Day. I will not be broadcasting next week due to the Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there in advance. So make sure you have a wonderful day. Take care of your mothers, love your mothers, and show them that you love them. Love them. I hope that you show them that you love them all year long, not just on Mother's Day. That's the funny thing about holidays is, my critique of holidays is that sometimes things come down to a single holiday, in the sense that, well, we should be showing our love all year long. And I'll leave that right there. So for today, like I said, there's just a lot of things on my mind. But particularly, one of the things that's been happening in the group practice, and I appreciate people entrusting their family members to me. So I get a lot of referrals, and lately I've been getting a lot of referrals for young African American and Latino boys. And so I know I've done a show on this before, and I'm not going to be long today. I just need to put this public service announcement out. I know I've talked about this before in terms of how we're raising our boys and so forth, the school system, the school to prison pipeline, and all of that stuff. I've done shows. If you want to check out those shows, please go to YouTube and you can see some of the older episodes. So why am I talking about this now? The issue and the reason why I'm bringing this up yet again is because, and obviously this ain't everybody. My hope isn't everybody. However, I continue to see not just the people that come to me, but just boys in general. These boys that are being broken in spirit early on, before sometimes before they even hit puberty, already giving up on life or giving up on their chances in elementary school, middle school, and I have to wonder why. Why is it that our black boys and our brown boys continue to struggle with their sense of self and their sense of abilities and so forth? And I also work on another contract, which is the SMART contract with the partnership with Young Visionaries Youth Leadership Academy. And so we go into these schools where we're working with youth in the school system throughout the Hesperia School District, the Rialto School District, and we continue to see these broken families and these broken children and giving up on their chances. And the reason why I say giving up on their chances is that they're in middle school, elementary school, and high school, and they've already given up on their chances in terms of their state of mind, their abilities, and so forth. So I wanted to talk about that briefly. And let me say this before I get into this. I am putting a call out. I know a lot of my shows are educational and I talk a lot about what the problems are. So I am putting a call out to all mentors, ministers, business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, or just everyday people, everyday men to come on this show and talk about the keys to success. What are the paths to success? I want to do a however many part series on talking about what success is, how do you get there, what's the mindset that you need to have. I can talk about this myself. However, I don't want to do this myself. I want our boys and girls, but particularly our boys, to see that we are multifaceted and that there's many avenues to success. And I think yet again, we're not exposing our children to the wide array of things, possibilities, and their abilities to achieve success. So this is a call. Please email me. You could text me. You could DM me if you want to be a part of this movement in terms of coming on the show, and let's do a series on what it takes for success, how to overcome adversity. Let's talk about resiliency. Let's talk about the obstacles that people have to go through and still achieve success. And let's also dispel the myths of what success is. Yet again, I still believe that a lot of what we see now in social media, obviously for years in sports and music, that sometimes our scope of what success looks like and what wealth looks like is so narrow that a lot of times our boys begin to lose hope because they're not exposed to the rest of the world. They're not exposed to the rest of what's possible. And we have to begin to expose our boys to more. And like I said, I'm not going to talk very long today. I just really wanted to put this call out to any entrepreneurs, coaches, mentors, professionals. I don't care, barbers, if you own a lawn company, whatever it may be, ministers, whoever that will be willing to come on the show and talk about the keys to success. Talk about how you overcome what's going on in your family and how you're able to see beyond that when your family or your circle isn't the best for you. So what I've been seeing, the reason why this is so important, and this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is that what I begin to see in this practice is these boys 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12 are broken, and they're not broken. They're not crazy. They're not they don't have disabilities. They're broken at the spirit. They're broken mentally. They're broken emotionally because of the things that's going on in their home, the things that they're going on in their communities. And sadly, they don't have the exposure to other people to know that this isn't the end of their life, that this isn't all that there is to it. And I want to give you a couple of discrete examples. And I got to give this footnote. I have to give this footnote. A lot of blended families come to me, right? Which there's a mom and then there's a stepdad. So I'm gonna pick on stepdads real quick, just really quick, and I'll connect all of this together. First of all, ladies, if you're going to choose a man to help you raise your children, particularly boys, if they do not take an interest in those boys, if they do not care for those boys, and all they care for is you, and then slowly attempt to move your boy out of the way, stop dating them. I'm seeing too many blended families where these stepdads are tearing down boys because they're trying to move them out of the way, because guess what? A lot of times you have these so-called relationships, whatever it may be, and then you bring this man in, and then all of a sudden, this boy is slowly watching this dude take away their family, take away their mom, but on top of that, is not feeding into this boy, is not encouraging this boy, is not meditating, is not motivating this person. And in fact, it just becomes another burden. And then we wonder why that they slowly shrink away. So that's a long footnote, but the reason why this is so important is because parents, we are the ones that are initially nurturing and rearing and feeding into these boys the spirit that is going to take to survive in this world. And if we aren't doing it, then allow somebody else to do it. And if we aren't doing it, then get them in a place that someone can do it. I'm talking about boys that lack reading, but because we want to buy video games and we want to do other things to pacify, that they get further left behind. Understand this, the educational gap is getting wider. The wealth gap is getting wider when it comes to Black people and other people. But part of the problem is we're not equipping our young boys to be prepared to achieve success. So this is a call to it's been time, but I really wanted to just emphasize that these boys come to therapy, and it's funny because the family be like, here's my son, fix him. But hold on, wait a minute. The family's the problem. What do I mean by that? One of the things that I know, as bad as I was as a kid, and at what time, as poor as we were, there was always encouragement. There was always motivation. There was always an expectation to do better. Now, even though through my years I may have swayed left to right, there was always the belief that I could take over the world. There was always the belief that I could do better, I could be better, and no matter how many times I get knocked on my butt, then the charge is to get up. A lot of these kids, especially these Gen Zers or whatever, don't even want to try. If it's not soft and easy, they don't want it. But that comes from nurturing. If it's not soft and easy and smooth, they don't want to participate. That comes from nurturing. When it's not given, there's no desire to earn. Very little desire to earn, very little desire to give forth effort. Get your boys away from the TV, get your boys away from the video games, put a book in their hand, put a hammer in their hand, give them the opportunities to feel success. It is sickening and sad to see that there's and I know this isn't everybody. And if you're a great parent and you're nurturing strong men and strong boys, I salute. So I'm talking to the ones that are have are good intentions, but however are leaving their boys behind, and then they are handing them over to a school system that is not designed to even educate them. We are losing time. And I don't know if people understand that. We are losing time. If you're paying attention to what's happening in social media, what's happening in the stock market, you look at Elon Musk, who just who just bought Twitter. You're talking about this whole metaverse and all of these things. We are going to get left behind in all of this mix if we don't step it up. So here's what I'm asking. Here's what I'm begging, is that at this time, is that we have to start feeding life into our boys. I'm thinking of a couple of particular Black male clients that I have, young boys that do not see themselves as even good human beings because what's been nurtured or the lack of nurturing. And what happens is then they don't begin to believe in themselves. So when they look at themselves in the mirror, they see a mistake. They see something that's not worthy. It is time to stop pretending to parent. It is time to be an active parent. Do not understand this. The educational system in this country is inadequate. We could talk about that all day long, especially for Black people. The things that we need to know, the things that we need to understand, the things that we need to be educated on, and the skill sets that we need, we're not going to find in the school system. However, I can count on one hand the people that I've met that have a home library. And I'm not saying that we don't show our kids love by doing things and buying them things and all this other things, but the first thing we need to do is start educating them. They're passing laws right now, right? They're passing laws to water down the history of this country of what's taught in schools to make it so whitewashed and to not hurt white people's feelings and not going to tell them the truth. It's going to get to the point where the education about slavery they're going to paint the picture as if we came over here willingly on a cruise ship, because they don't want to tell the truth about the atrocities under this flag, under the atrocities that this country continued to perpetuate. There is no other people on the face of the earth. You got to go all the way back to Attila the Hun. You got to go all the way back to who else? I can't think of the other person's name. To see when you talk about a specific people that have traveled throughout the world and killed and pillaged and took over cultures and destroyed civilization for the sake of one. So when you talk about what's going to be happening in this educational system with them trying to keep out the truth about history, where do you think we're going to end up in that narrative? Where do you think they're going to the history books already is inadequate, but now that they're making sure that this critical race theory doesn't happen, where do you think that they're going to put us? So if we're not educating ourselves, if we're not telling our young boys and girls that they're kings and queens and conquerors and emperors and inventors and innovators and entrepreneurs, and when you talk about how we influence culture and how we influence all of these things, if we don't tell them, then who will? Time's up. And I hope You understand why this stuff is on my mind. I have a grandson. I have nephews that I love dearly, and that I applaud our family, my brothers and my nephews and all this other stuff. I applaud us because we took note. We took heed that guess what? This world, this world ain't built for us. I'll say it this way. This country wasn't designed for us and with us in mind. So therefore, we have to move differently. We have to move with intentions. We have to stop. Understand this. We have to stop teaching our kids to just go to school, get some pseudo education, and then just go get a job and expect that we're going to be okay as a people. It's not going to happen. So some may sound like I'm on a rant because even if I am on a rant, I don't care. It's time. I don't know if you're paying attention. Get off of social media, pick up a book, really pay attention to what's happening. We talked about what happened in 2020 with the pandemic, and then how they flooded all this money into the stock market to keep the economy afloat and all these other things. And some of us utilize those funds appropriately to keep businesses afloat. Some of us scammed. But here's one thing. Even with all of the money that they flooded into the market, the wealth gap for African Americans still got wider. What does that mean? We did not make up any ground when it comes to wealth. Why is that? Here's the thing. It is time we begin to start nurturing our kids. Stop parenting the moment they can walk and the moment they can feed themselves. Stop bringing people, stepmoms, stepdads, or whoever, into your kid's life when they don't have your children's best interest at heart in the name of love. I see step parents, whether it's stepmom or stepdad, tearing these women down or tearing these children down just for the sake of being in some pseudo relationship. If you don't believe it, we are at a time of urgency. They put things in the news, they put things in the media, and certain things happen, and then some of us think that we've arrived. We have not arrived. We got to do more work. We got another generation that we have to prepare. Right now, this new generation has things so easy because they don't want to earn, they don't want to work, they're not being nurtured to do so. They have things so easy. I'm scared for them. I'm really terrified for the next generation. Are we teaching them resiliency? Are we teaching them how to overcome? How are we teaching them how to be innovative? I know it's a new generation, but guess what? Some things remain the same. Some things remain the same. The ability to get up, the ability to get the foot forth and effort, the ability to understand that failure is part of the process, and the only real failure is not trying or quitting. We have to begin to instill these values that got us here, but we have to instill them even more so we can go further. I'm tired of seeing broken children come into therapy because their parents are broken. I'm tired of seeing these black boys coming here with their spirits and their souls broken at the age of 8, 9, and 10. Because no one has taught them how great they are and how great they will be. Time's up, people. I know we're going into Mother's Day. We got the summer coming up. And let me tell you this. We got summer vacation coming up. Here's the challenge, and here's what I'm suggesting. And I'm not talking to Disneyland. I'm not talking to Magic Mountain. I'm talking, I know there's no more summer jobs, but get your kids out of the house, away from the video games, put a book in their hands, and take a family trip. I don't care where it is. Drive somewhere, some sandwiches, do whatever you got to do to make it, but get them out of the house and get them seeing things. Expose them to something new. If your child spends every day of their summer break in front of the TV playing video games, you failed. That's how I feel about it. So, yet again, this has been Indestructible Souls. Sorry for the rant. Sorry for all of the, but that's just what's on my mind. It is what it is. And you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'm going to see you soon.